Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Robotics Online. We are going to be learning today about how to control the robot's motion using the color sensor. I hope everything is finding you and your family well. I know this is a trying time and that you might be getting tired of the online learning, but hang in there, keep working, keep pounding it out. It's important that you keep doing that. So let's get right down to it. Open up a web browser and we're going to go to vr.vex.com as always. It's going to open everything up. Awesome. Today we're going to open the playground and we're going to be working with the playground. Ooh, didn't want that. We're going to be working with the playground called Disk Maze. So open Disk Maze up. It'll just take a second or two, boom. And just to have you go around it. So the idea of this disk maze is your robot starts in the start button and it's going to drive through the maze, detecting the color and making turns until it gets to the red, and then it's going to stop. So let's just go through, let's take a look at it from 45 degrees or from behind the robot. We can see here that there's a green square in the ground and like a green paddle or a blue paddle up behind the square on the ground. And that paddle is represented by this little symbol here. That's kind of like the stand of the paddle right there. So the idea is what we're going to do is drive forward. We're going to tell the robot to drive forward until it detects green. And when it detects green, we're going to go to the next pad, which in this case is going to be to the left is no good, to the right is the next pad. So when we see green, it's going to turn right and then drive to the next pad. Now it's going to see this blue. When it sees blue, it needs to turn. There's nothing to the right, so we need to turn left, and there's one to the left. Drive forward till it sees blue. Now when it hits this blue one, it needs to turn to the left and just get to this blue one. When it gets to this blue one, it needs to turn left again. Notice that all the blue so far have been left, 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 and the green was right. When it gets to this blue, this is a little hard to see because the robot's facing down right now. It's going down. So it needs to turn left to get to the next pad, which is the green one. When it hits the green one, it needs to turn right to go to this blue one. And when it hits this blue one, it needs to turn left to go to this green one, and the green one right to the red one. So it looks like we've got some rules here that are consistent. Whenever you see green, turn right. Green, turn right. Green, turn right. Whenever you see blue, turn left. Boom, boom, boom. And then whenever you see red, stop. So you're going to need 3 if-then statements, one for each of those colors, and instead of being able to program like every turn in there, you can just program in those 3 rules and let the robot just execute those rules over and over again in whatever order it needs to do to complete the maze. So we can do a really tight amount of code. So we're going to have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 turns. We'll be able to make 9 turns happen with just 3 sets of code repeating. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's do some straightforward stuff. So let's set our drive velocity to 100% because we don't want to watch a slow robot drive across a screen. And we set our turn velocity to 100%. And then let's mark our motion. So let's go ahead and put the robot pin down. And then we are going to set the print color to something. Black or red. Leave green and blue because we're going to change the pin color when we hit a green and a blue to whatever color that pad is. All right, so that's the chunk of it so far. Now the first thing we need to do is get our robot moving forward. Now in this case, I don't want to use a drive forward for distance command because that's going to drive it forward and then stop the robot. I want to just say, hey, drive forward. We're going to control when it stops and turns based on the color it sees, not how far it goes. So here we're going to just use drive forward. Now if we just hit play here, watch what happens. The robot drives forward, crashes, bangs into it, and then smashes over it and destroys things. And then flips itself over and it's a mess. Let's see it from behind it real quick because I kind of want to see what happens. So it hits this thing, boom, oh, it drove over it. That's kind of cool. And then it just keeps on going. So we need to add some more nuance to what it's wanting to do instead of just drive forward. So this is where we need our rules. So we're going to need 3 rules, and each rule is going to be an if-then statement. So we're going to say if. Now on our robot, there's two sensors on our robot for color. We can take a look. This tall orange thing here in the middle, on the front of it, on the other side of the robot, is going to be a sensor that looks straight ahead to see something, see what color something is. And then on the bottom of this orange tower is a sensor on the bottom that can read what color the ground is. And so we can use that sensor, we can execute with it with this detects command. So there's a front eye and a down eye. You can use either one. I'm going to use the down eye. I don't think there's any reason not to do it the other way. So down eye, whenever we see green, we need to set those rules up again. So green means right. Okay, so that just means I'm going to turn right for 90 degrees. Now here I wouldn't want to use a heading thing. If I used a turn to heading 90 degrees, that means every time I hit a green one, it would turn to the east, right, to the right here, and this one would drive straight through the thing again, and this one would be the only correct one. So we want to say it's based on which way you're headed, turn 90 degrees from there, right. All right, and if we just did that, it would drive up here, hit this, see it, stop, and then not turn right, and then not do anything. So we do need to say, hey, and then get going again, drive forward. Now, let's see if that works. Boom. It just crashed into that thing, and again, it drove over the top of it. So the question is, why doesn't this work? And the reason is, this reads the code really, really, really fast. It gets to here. If it detects green, which it doesn't because it's like right here in the white space, it skips this code and goes down here and then just stops reading code. And it just keeps doing whatever it was doing, which in this case was driving forward. So when we want to detect something, we need to be able to put a repeat loop around it, a forever loop typically. Forever loop around this, or at least a timed loop, something that keeps it repeating over and over again. Now let's refresh and see how this works. Now it should detect the green one. And sure enough it did, and it launched it on its next route. So it said, hey, when you see green, turn right 90 degrees, then drive forward. Now it's just repeating this. It didn't see green again, so it just crashed in. It's still just driving forward. Is what it's kind of was doing right now. So it's in trouble, like that. It's not going to work well. So now what I want you to do is just finish up the maze. We know that whenever, that's kind of cheating. We know that whenever we hit a, one more thing before we do that actually. Let's reset. Let's say that when we hit green, we're going to switch the pin color to the color of, set robot pin color. We're going to set it to green. And so when you hit a blue pad, change the pin color to blue. When you hit a red, it's just a stop, so it doesn't matter. So you finish things up. You're going to need 2 more if-thens, and I'll give you a little hint that those if-thens need to go inside this forever loop. That way it's constantly evaluating what it does. And then see if you can get the robot to complete a course all the way around. That was a really short one. I know last week I gave you a really long video, so this week was pretty short. Finish that up, submit it to team. So it's not done yet. You still need to be able to make sure the robot can actually get through the maze. Remember, all it can do right now is make the first turn correctly, and then it's all messed up. So you're going to add in a rule for blue, and then a rule for red. What I don't want you to do is add one for every blue one. Once you get a rule for blue, blue is always the same. You just need that one rule one time in here, and then one rule for red and what to do. And the forever loop will have it just constantly looking to see what color it sees and what it can do. All right, so that's it for me. I am out for the week. Submit this to teams when you get a chance. Everything is good, my friends. You can submit a photo, a screenshot, a PDF, whatever you need to do to get it submitted. Do it. I'm cool with whatever you do. Best of luck to you, and we will see you next week.